wow, the mic's on already. Look at that. Hey guys, good evening. Why won't that stop? Oh, go away. Okay. Anyway, hey, good evening, guys. Good to see you, Jeff and Paul. Yeah, you remember Jeff? Excellent. I only reminded you yesterday, so. Anyway, going good, Paul. Thank you. Well, good-ish. It's weirdness tonight. I think. Oh, I should push that button. I thought I did. There I am. Hi. Good to see you. Now I see you. Reading books. Be right back. Is it nighttime? Bedtime? Okay. Anyway, so let's see. Let's get into it. Weird stuff happening in here tonight, as usual, because it is, of course, the disaster room. So for some reason, something kept driving the mod wheel on Hydrasynth, I think. I don't know. It was just going off into weird things. I think I've got modulators running on the Recursion Studio, and I think I wasn't paying attention, and it's spitting mod data out the MIDI output port. So I had to yank that out. So let's see. And that was in the middle. And there's, for some reason, I think it's still playing. The Polybrutes, no, it's finally settled down. The Polybrute got stuck on. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But anyway, let's go ahead. We'll talk through what was in the jam tonight. And then we've got a bunch of stuff to get into. And then we're going to have some fun with a new toy. So, yeah. First news item, as you can see, right there, the Hydrasynth is in and doing its thing. So we're going to play with that tonight. But anyway, what was in the jam? We've got, let's see, let's go ahead and hit that. And actually, I want, this is one of those nights. I can just see it happening. Everything's weird. Let's go ahead and do that, and we'll talk about what's in the jam. First up, on the bass, or one of the basses, we had two basses tonight. I've got Take 5. What the devil? That's not what's supposed to be playing. And it's stuck on whatever it is. I have no idea what that sound is, or where it's coming from. It's coming off the Take 5. Okay. Well, let's make that go away, because that's not what was supposed to be there. Yeah, stand by a sec. Let's reboot the Take 5. There's some sort of... Okay, let's see if it's under control now. No, it's not under control. Okay, so that's where the weirdness was, or some of the weirdness was. Take 5 was playing some of the noise. Apparently not what I expected. But the other bass in the jam tonight was coming off of Vital. Yeah, I don't know what's in its head tonight. That's weird. Because nothing, looking around the room, nothing should be sending anything to it. So anyway, that was the primary, the bass. I'm not sure why the Take 5 decided to head off into Neverland. Something is banging MIDI real hard. I don't know what. Because it can't be the Recursion Studio, because I pulled its MIDI out jack out. Yep, don't know. Anyway, that was a bass. Also up in the jam, we had a new patch from Omnisphere, just doing patty things. Modified it a little bit as usual. Well, the Hydrasynth, Paul, it is a ton of fun. I will definitely say that. So anyway, that was that pad. Also on another pad, pigments. And then the last two bits also out of pigments, my little sequence things. That one and this one. And both of these, I believe, are using the sequence. Yeah, they're both using the sequencer that lives inside of pigments. And they're both set to regenerate the sequence every time through. Never quite the same. And then on the leads, let's see. Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go there for the moment. And let's go ahead and takes a moment. Okay, it did some part of it on the leads were so this is the first patch on the Hydrasynth. It's whatever it's called, Sawpressive. And the way they've got it set up, let's see if I can do this a better way. If I go here, do I have a way to do that? Let's see. Let's go over to show control, cam 2, and That's not going to give me what I want. That's what I already got up. Oh, I know what I need to do. Bear with me. I'm going to set this up. The cameras are going to fly. So let's see. We'll do camera 1. We'll go over and look at the Hydrasynth directly. And camera 2 will look down at that. Whee! And while that's going on, I will now reverse this. So we've got that going on. There we go. All right, so I went ahead and did a setup in Bitwig that lets me have the 8 macros right here. And so basically I was playing with playing the Hydrasynth with the Control S, and I can alter the 8 macros that were set up in here, so I can change the wave. Hey Jeff. You can bring in noise. And add some chorus. It's a fairly subtle chorus on this. Bring a sub oscillator in and out, and add some FM. Hey Danny, good to see you. And then, as I mentioned also, I'm not going to bring it back up because I think it's still stuck playing something. Well, maybe not. The other... Oh, let's get all these things back where they belong. Yeah, take you on a fun trip here. Cam 1, going to go back to me. And cam 2, I will swing over to... I rearranged all the buttons too. I added stuff over here. I had to rearrange the buttons. Now I can't find anything. Let's see. I want that to look at that. So let's see. The Polybrute was playing. It's back under control now. Nope, it's not. It's stuck on again. Yeah, okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Polybrute was doing a thing until it got out of control. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'll launch a little bit of background sound and we can talk about some stuff. It gets frustrating. And there's too much of that. Let's go over here, turn that down. Okay, so anyway, let's see. Yeah, you know, Danny, I won't say it's been exhausting, but I'm not exactly, I'm tired. There's been some, you know, stuff going on. So, and we had a great time over at Paul's yesterday. But Saturday was, Saturday and even Friday were just, yeah, tough stuff. Stuff going on. But anyway, let's see, where are we? So anyway, that was what was in the jam. I'm not sure why the Polybrute's acting up, but I'm not sure why the Take 5's acting up. Is what it is. So I've got some stuff on the agenda for tonight, and part of it I didn't set up. So let me go over and get that set, sort of. find something here to play with. Oop. I just want I'm getting something set up on in Vital, and I just want to find kind of, I'll do some plucks or something. That'll do. Okay, so let's see. How does this sound? Except it's got too much delay in the patch. Let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. What I'm setting up, because the first item to chat about tonight is a plugin. So I need to turn the effects off for this. All right, that'll work. And let's see, I'm going to turn this other thing down a little more. And, all right, let's see, get this back to the voice, get that out of the way. So there's this free plugin, and I think I got a link for it down in the, show notes below, called TugPhonon. And it's a interesting kind of looping delay thing. It's if you're into like frippertronic kind of stuff, yeah, that's probably what it, yeah, they're jealous. They're gonna have to get over it. But anyway, this TugPhonon thing is it's a cycling kind of delay. So if you're into like frippertronics and that kind of thing, it's pretty cool. I don't think it's like new, and it's kind of sort of beta-ish. Need some more volume on this. So basically, this thing is 8 delays that we spin through, and you can turn some on, turn them off. You can change how they're spread out. And these things can have delay times up to like 3 or 4 seconds. They're modulatable. Let's see, where is the delay time on this? On these, each head has its own delay, its own modulation. Stretching, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm trying to find the silly rate. Oh, it's the offset. So there's a master rate, which is here. So let's slow it down. And then you can offset. So let's just mess with a few of them. And you can kind of offset them off the circular grid, so to speak. And like I said, each one can be independently modulated and it's a little tricky. I just started playing with it like today, a little bit ago. But you can solo each head to figure out what it's doing. Apparently that one's not doing much. Oh, that's the first one, right? Let's see. I basically put this in the show notes and forgot about it. So, let's see. So yeah, this is the first one. So you can turn the first note off, and if you turn the mix up, It comes with a bunch of presets which are really bizarre, you know. Because you can see you can modulate the positions of the heads. And so of course that gets really trippy effects. So some of this weird stuff isn't that useful. It doesn't seem that useful to me. I wish I could get more volume out of it. I'm not sure why everything's so quiet. But anyway, cool thing, it's free. There's a link down below. And like I said, each tap is a full-on delay. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I haven't had as I said, haven't had a whole lot of time to fool with it. I just learned about it the other day. So let's see. That's that. Also linked below was a really interesting interview with Suzanne Ciani. So she talks about her thoughts on AI and EDM music, which are, you know, she's obviously not known for EDM, but something that struck her at an event about EDM, which is interesting. So anyway, as you probably know, she's been a Buchla virtuoso since the 60s. I mean, she's just like, she's the queen of Buchla. I'd be interested, this was recorded before the new Ziggy came out. I'd be interested to hear her take on Ziggy. But anyway, that's obviously not in the interview because it was before the interview was done several months before Ziggy was released. I guess she knows about it because she's, you know, so in the Buchla camp. But anyway, so link to that interview is below. Very interesting, very insightful. And also, I may have the link below, I can't remember, to a whole playlist that I did that's all stuff about or by Suzanne Ciani. Let's see. So, also, the Hydrasynth is new in the studio, but also new in the studio is the new Keystep 37 Mark II, which I want to talk about pretty quickly. Well, so, you know, when I typed this up, when I put this into the show note, into my script for tonight, I had not yet seen the interview. When I put it into the show notes, yeah, I had not yet actually watched the interview. I just said, this is cool. And I got a kind of a synopsis thing. My perception of her had always been that, you know, she's very particular about her synthesizer, her instruments. She's exceptionally particular about the venues. She's and you know, about control, and so, you know, the Ziggy is in a lot of ways a pretty major departure for Buchla. You know, it is, and I took the graphic out of the switcher for tonight, so I can't pull up the picture real quick. But it's a desktop synthesizer that's all pre-wired. I mean, you can do patching with a few buttons here and there, but it's basically a turn it on and go. And that's not in the past been the Buchla modus operandi. You know, you have to do the thing with the Buchla. With the Ziggy, you turn it on and start making noise. Now, you know, so I don't know. I don't know. It'd be, yeah, how could she not approve? I don't know. I mean, you know, but it's a different mindset for Buchla, and it's different from what I perceive her mindset to be. So that's how she might, I guess she might not approve per se. Anyway, I would like to hear, I'd like to put a Ziggy in her hand and see what happened. The Bukla Mata Bubba. It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see what happens if she with what she would do with one and what she would think about it. I say because it is such a departure for them. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. So anyway, new in the studio, the Keystep 37 Mark II. The original is still here. It hasn't left yet, but I don't know if it's going to or not. Let me see if I can drive camera 2 over to take a look at this thing. I should be able to get close. So let's see. Is it there yet? Nope, it's still going. Jeez, that thing is slow. All right, what was this? Hey, Tao, good to see you. Okay, so here's the Keystep 32, and I will have a picture up that I can. Hey, Luke. So you missed what's in the jam. You missed me talk about a plugin, a weird delay plugin, and mention the Suzanne Ciani interview that I've got linked down below. And I was wondering what her thoughts would be on the new Bukla Ziggy. So that's what you've missed. I'm going to switch my views on the other Mac so I can keep up with what I'm doing. Boom. Okay. So this is the new Keystep 32. It is. Hello. Well, I unplugged my headphones. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm going to try and see if I can get both of these into the shot. I'll plug my headphones back in later. I don't need them right this minute. Let's see. It's not really room for all this stuff stacked up here, but everything in the way. So, there we go. Sort of enough. Let me get my headphones plugged back in. Okay, now I hear myself. So anyway, still 37 keys, still mono aftertouch or channel aftertouch, and that's kind of sort of where the similarities end. Let's see, I do need to have my show notes over here because there's some specific points that I want to bring up about this thing. So I got my show notes over on this Mac over here. Okay, so generally speaking, I like it. I like it in some ways better than the old 37, the original. I like that these knobs are endless encoders as opposed to pots. I like that. There's a lot more functionality in the sequencer and really cool functionality in the arpeggiator, and those things I really like. Although getting to some of those things is not as easy as it once was, but by the same token, it does a lot more. So there's going to be more digging and more depth. So let's see. You can do, I didn't really have planned, I haven't had, again, this just came in the other day, so I haven't had time to fool with it a lot, but I have had time to learn that it's got better aftertouch and better aftertouch control. With the old one, aftertouch was very much on or off, and that was really the adjustments didn't do a whole lot for you. The aftertouch is more controllable. There's an extra CV output, modulation output. That was the primary reason for my grabbing this, because the idea being that I can do mod and aftertouch to the modular. Oops. Yeah, it's got its MIDI connected into the world too. So lots of internal CV modulation sources, mod wheel, expression, aftertouch, LFOs, envelopes. There's a whole slew of controls that can be mapped to those two outputs, which is fantastic. Let's see. I mentioned the arpeggiator is enhanced. It's got some really neat patterns. You can mutate those patterns, and you can then take those patterns and convert them to a sequence, which you can then further enhance and further mutate. It's got the spice dice thing going on from the Micro Freak and the Mini Freak. It's got a huge number. There's a huge number of scales and keys, so you can your sequences and or your arpeggios will always be in the right scale and the right key. So lots of improvements there. However, so they got a lot of hits, but there are a few misses as well. And yeah, Mutate is mad fun. It really is. Again, you come up with something you like and you can stick that and make that a sequence. You can build some number of sequences and then you can chain sequences together. So it's got a song mode and you can store all that. I think it's 64 sequences, 64 chains. And there's 64 steps in a arpeggio or a sequence. So I mean, this thing it's like they really upped their game on that. Here's where they missed. Excuse me. Two places that I've found that so far that they were kind of misses on this thing. First, MIDI CCs cannot control the CV mod outputs except for the mod wheel. So if there's no way for me to pass a MIDI CC through the CV outputs. Like I said, except for the mod wheel. So I can't set, if I am playing on here, using that as a MIDI CV converter, my aftertouch doesn't go through. And I thought I had that working on the old one. The other miss, so I don't know if that's something I'm doing. I don't know if that's something that's coming later. I don't know. However, I got all kinds of mad control over control voltage out of the unit itself, with its own controls. So, it's not bad. And as a controller for Eurorack, I think it's fantastic. So yeah, well, what I'm trying to do is, what I'm wanting to be able to do is use that as my MIDI to CV converter so that I can play the modular from the Control S, because the aftertouch is improved on the Keystep 37, but it's much better here on this. It's fantastic here. That's really the only way to describe it. So yeah, that would be nice. And I was kind of sort of hedging too. Is like, are they going to do a Keystep Pro Mark II? And I don't. Some kind of comments that have been made that I've seen made over the last few days. I'm not sure that they actually are, because they did a bunch of they did some firmware updates for the Pro. So I don't know if they're going to get one or not. But yeah, a CV out for well, and it's like on the Pro, you've already got so many scads of CV outputs. So anyway, yeah, it would be nice if it had, you know, pitch, gate, and 4 CV outs, 4 additional CV outs. But 2 was, if I was going to be happy to be able to have mod wheel and aftertouch, and that's what that was my goal. So it doesn't do that exactly the way I wanted. It does do, I can do mod wheel or mod strip and aftertouch from the keyboard, and I can put, you know, mod wheel on CV1 and aftertouch on 2, or vice versa, or any of the number of other things can be spit out those CV outputs. So, you know, a slight disappointment. There have been some people that have been commenting that they don't think the keyboard feels the same. I think it feels a little better, but it's not a huge difference. And then there are people griping because the bottom is made of plastic now. You know, it feels like really good plastic. So, you know, if people are that concerned about that, I wonder what they're doing to their instruments. You know, I've carted a lot of plastic gear to gigs and never had any problems. Unless they're throwing their keyboard around, I don't think they're going to run into any problem with the plastic that's used on this thing. So anyway, that's my initial thoughts. I think this actually showed up here at the house it was either Friday or Saturday. So, and you know, lots of new stuff came flying in the house Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or you know, last week. And I've been spending most of my time playing with other stuff. This comment is for Jeff Hopkins. I did get off my butt and order the 4K Recursion Studio. I did get my pre-order in, so that will be coming once they start coming. Looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty cool. So let's see. The next thing to do is to revisit the whole Modal Electronics Element 1 and other instruments thing again. So I think I don't know if I mentioned this last week or if I mentioned it in Discord or something somewhere, but the new Element 1 is, I'm excited for it too. Mostly, I'm excited for it too. I guess the 3D stuff is going to be really cool. And the stream on Sunday, last Sunday, or yesterday, was really good. And it was like, oh yeah, definitely got to go there, because he was showing some more stuff. Yeah, you know, Gene's streams for the Recursion Studio, and I've mentioned this elsewhere, but you know, they always strike me something of as a mad scientist. You know, he develops all the modules for these things and has all these ideas. He never seems quite sure what's actually going to happen when he does something, and so his streams are a blast. I really enjoy them when I can sit down and watch them. Howdy, Ben. Good to see you. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm guessing that'll be coming June, maybe July somewhere, but by the time it actually gets here, and that's very cool. That's perfect. Yeah, it definitely. And I know right now he's kind of slowed down because of the getting over his surgery that he had. I know that surgery well. And so, he's got a little bit of recovery ahead of him, but it's going to be really good for him in the long run, knowing how badly he was hurting. His pain was actually greater than mine, In the long run, he'll be much happier. So anyway, back to Modal and the Element 1. I've been going back and forth as to whether or not I'm going to cancel my pre-order on that. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave the pre-order in. But I think that Sweetwater is so. To recap from last week, we had showed the thing where Modal Electronics and their exclusive distributor in the States had decided that due to tariffs and other, what they considered an unstable financial climate here in the States, they were no longer going to sell Modal gear through distribution in the United States, and Modal would not be selling direct. So your choices were, at that point, at the point of that press release anyway, you were limited to stock on hand at whatever whatever was at your local dealer. And so, and maybe Thomann would ship something in, but you're going to be responsible for paying the tariffs and customs and duties and all that stuff when it gets here. I also mentioned last week that they were still listing Sweetwater as a dealer on the website. In fact, it was the only dealer in the U.S. And prior to that, some other stores in the U.S. had been listed. So back and forth with my rep at Sweetwater, he wasn't sure what was going on, but finally came back and says he thinks they're getting an exclusive. About the same time, the Sweetwater website was updated to show that at least the Element 1 was going to be a Sweetwater exclusive. Okay, cool. So they've been putting this date, this ETA date, that keeps slipping. So the last I looked, it's June 1. When I first started looking at this, their ETA was like June 21. So I went back and I was looking at, so that ETA continues to slip. Except for stock on hand, every other Modal product is back ordered at Sweetwater also, and lists the same ETA, the same slipping ETA. So based on, yeah, I can see that too to some extent, to a point. I'm guessing that they'll do the they'll sell the Element 1 as a loss leader, and hope people will go for the more expensive synths where there's going to be more markup. So anyway, I went back and I re-listened to some of the interviews from Super Booth with the crew at Modal, and based on those those interviews, I think Sweetwater might be hurting themselves and Modal a little bit with this continually slipping ETA thing. And what I think they really ought to be doing is putting in what is, based on knowledge of shipping and whatnot, what a realistic ETA is. And then if they beat that ETA, then everyone's heroes. So just to give a kind of a picture of what it takes to get something here from, so the Element 1 and actually all of Modal production now has moved to Hong Kong. So to get something here from Hong Kong takes weeks. According to the folks at Modal, production started on the Element 1, for instance, towards the ends of April. During Super Booth, they said containers were being loaded. So that means, assuming the container loading first week of May, that would get the container loaded, assuming they have a full container, could get the container loaded on the ship and on the water by the second week of May. From Hong Kong or China to either SeaTac or Port of LA is 5 weeks. That's how long it takes a ship to get to Seattle or Los Angeles from China and Hong Kong. Once it gets there, typically it's somewhere up to about a week to unload, get through customs, assuming there's no issues in customs. And then it would be another 1 to 2 weeks from the time it clears customs to the time it shows up at Sweetwater. So that puts the most likely, or a more likely, ETA to be the end of June or beginning of July. And honestly, I think that's what Sweetwater needs to be putting on their website for that stuff. Because when the ETA keeps slipping, that causes customers to question. And question, is this thing going to be a viable product? Is Modal going to be viable? Blah, 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 blah. Whereas if they just say, this thing's going to be here the end of June, first week of July, somewhere in there, if it gets there early, everyone's a hero, everyone's happy. So there's a missed boat, so to speak, in the marketing on this that I think they need to be addressing a little differently. So anyway, today, Bo over at Bo Beats released a really good video on the Element One. Does a really good job of going through a lot of detail with it. So anyway, I think I'm going to hang on to my pre-order for it. It fits on it. The window on one of the needs is kind of closing, but the other need, desire, it'll still meet. Basically to get me a Cobalt at a really reasonable price is really what it gets down to. And then the only question I have is Bo indicates that the keyboard is not the same, or the keybed is not the same as the it's not the same as the Cobalt 8 and the Argon 8 and but he says it's a good keybed, but he says it's not the same. I'd heard it was the same, so I'm not sure. Okay. I have a little bit of insight into shipping and that kind of thing, because of the jobs that Donna and I had. No, I don't want a racked Cobalt. My need for the Cobalt is something that I can. I have the two needs that I have for the Cobalt is something that I can run out to a jam with and just jam out with, or the other need is, which I mentioned on the show last week, and I think maybe the week before, is one of our friends' daughters. She's autistic. She loves to come in the studio and play, and I want something that's really accessible for her. And the Element One is perfect. So like I said, it gets me the Cobalt at a really low price because all the functionality is there, with a simplified front panel, and the app still works. And the operation is is more conducive to the functions that I'm looking at. You're a funny guy, Luke. So anyway, man. If I didn't know better, I'd say I'd gone outside and cut the grass, but I didn't. That's tomorrow. So anyway, so other updates of things that I'm waiting for. Still waiting for the next Leviasynth shipment to show up at my local synth emporium. So I will go grab that once it's in. And no, Luke, I didn't wait for version 2 or next firmware release. The word on the street is that the current version is very stable. They may add features later, but I'm buying it for what it is now, and it does a thing that I want to be able to do now. It will always be able to do that thing, and if they add more, like they did with the Hydrasynth, then fantastic. Let's see. I'm going to flip the order here a little bit. Obviously, the Hydrasynth is here. And I guess we'll address the the question that I posed as the title of this in my click-baity title. So, history. When I first started building. Oh, it'd be cool if Ken came. That would be fantastic. Anyway, well, so I'm going with the rack, Luke, as opposed to the as opposed to the keyboard version, because of this. I sat down and played the keyboard version again, and I like this keybed better. As good as the ASM keybed is, I've grown to really enjoy playing on this one. That said, who knows? I may change my mind. I got a real good price quote on both, or on either. So anyway, little history. Back in whatever year it was when I bought when I was starting to put the studio together, and I bought the Polybrute. The original plan at that point, 2023, I guess it was. The original plan was to get the Hydrasynth Deluxe, and instead I was enticed to buy the Polybrute, and I like the Polybrute a lot, but it's got quirks, So part of me is like, sitting here playing with the Hydrasynth over the last few days, it's like, man, I should have done this a long time ago. And then I'm thinking, well, should I have not bought the Polybrute? Should I have stuck to my original plan and gotten the Hydrasynth? And I don't know. I do have minor concerns with the Hydrasynth, the plain Hydrasynth, and that 8 voices may be limiting. I don't know. I haven't run into anything yet, but I've seen some other people that have. But as far as Hydrasynth is concerned, now that I've been fooling with it, I actually prefer the desktop layout a little better than I did the keyboard. It gets down to some positioning of controls that I would use a lot if I were using it, like if I took it out to do for a performance. I think they've got on the keyboard version, they've got the filter controls in the wrong place. You've got to reach across your hand to get to the filter controls all the way in the upper right of the controls. Whereas on the desktop version, filter controls are right here. So if you're going to play the desktop version from its pads, and I'm not sure what it's playing there, but if you're going to, it's MIDI's playing whatever else is going. If you're going to play the pads, you can work the filter. So it's a little ergonomic thing. And the Leviasynth is kind of the same way, in that the controls don't for me anyway, they're not necessarily laid out the way I would like them the best. Whereas I can set the controls up myself on this controller to be exactly the way I want. Yeah, so that's another thing. I'm not sure how I feel about the I'm not sure how I feel about the pitch bend and mod wheels on the ASM synths. They've got those little handles, and I'm very used to. I don't know if you can see. Let me do this. Camera control. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Let's see. If I do that, oh shoot, wrong button, dummy. Go back, camera. Can you see? Yeah, so you can just barely see at the very bottom of the screen. I like to use the pitch bend and mod wheels with my fingers on top of them, and that's not real easy to do with those handles, and they remind me a lot of the handles from the Oberheim synths, the earlier, and it's just like the paddles, almost. And I didn't really, I never really liked that. I like a regular round pitch bend or mod wheel. I don't, and so, I don't. There are pluses and minuses to those strips, like on the Keysteps, and on the Hydrasynth Deluxe. The mod is the mod's okay. It's even better if they put some LEDs to let you know where you were, like Native Instruments did on the original version of the Control S. So you could tell at a glance where you need to drop your finger to pick up. The problem with them for me is the pitch bend. It's too easy to drop your finger on a pitch bend and suddenly get a pitch bent note that you weren't planning on. But I don't mind the strips a whole lot. One thing I will miss, I know, on the Leviasynth, by going with the rack mount version, is the strip, because that can get used for a whole bunch of different stuff in the ASM world. So that is something that I will miss. I don't know if I'll be able to use the one from the Arturia to control it or not. I haven't gotten that far in fooling with it yet. But yeah, so you get those. The 888 has, yeah, that's ribbon. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Well, so mod wheels typically don't bounce back. Mod wheels will typically stay where you want them, or where you leave them, and pitch will bounce back. That's kind of a weirdness with, there's going to be kind of a weirdness with the Element 1. It's a joystick for pitch and mod. And a lot of times I'll set those up so that pitch is left, right, and mod is fore and aft. And when you let go of the joystick, it pops back to the middle. And so that's something that I'll have to work around, and maybe I'll get one of those that little controller that Loopop did. I think I've got one of those sitting in my cart at Perfect Circuit. I've had it there for 6 months or something like that. But I can use that for mod instead of the actual mod wheel. Yeah, never try and reinvent the wheel exactly. The wheel is round. It took a while to figure that out, but the wheel has to be round. Now, like I said, I don't mind. I don't mind. I like a good touch control. I really do. As long as I get some, feedback as to where that touch control is. Like, if I go into, oh, let's see, where do I have this set up? Do I have this set up here anywhere? Bear with me a second. If not, if I don't have it set up, I will. Doopy 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 doo. Not there. Not there for sure. Well, if it were behaving, I'd show you on the Polybrute. So I'll go ahead and show you anyway. So let's see. Well, yeah, you can, Jeff, depending on the joystick. But yeah, you're right. A good quality joystick, yes, you very easily can take the spring out. But some of the less expensive ones, they kind of capture the spring in there, so you can't get them back out. And then, of course, I would want to put a little damping in it so it wasn't so flippy. Let's see. Well, not the text. Wheel is the diamond. So let's see. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing. Let me get camera 2 where I need it. If I do, no, we'll go to this. We'll just do it as a package. So if I hit that, I think is the one that I want. So when this comes up, which will be a moment, there we go. Still got to move the camera around. Okay, so I've got my XY pad here, and I've got this on the Polybrute channel just because that's where I've got it set up. So I've got this XY pad that I put in. That moves my MIDI. Which controls whatever I've got it set up for. In the case of the Polybrute, I've got it running the Morphe controller. I was able to make that work the way I wanted it to work. So this more or less stays where I leave it. This is not the greatest touchpad, but it does the job if I get off it properly. So this will stay, and this could be set to be, pitch bend and modulation if I wanted it to be in another synth. Usually, what I'll use it for, like if I'm in Vital, we can set it up real quick. I think. Boop, boop. XY. Drop that puppy there. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's bring this up. Make it smaller if I can. Doop-a-doop. So if I wanted to control, say, filter, cutoff, and resonance, I go ahead and I touch that, and it brings that up there. Then I'll take my X. Now I'll do my Y. I'll do my Y for filter, for cutoff. So I'll map that over there. And then I'll take, actually I should turn that down. Let's do that again. That's right. Okay, good. And then we'll take X, we'll grab the resonance and map that there. Then I'm going to turn it down. So now if I play this, yeah, filter's completely closed. So now I've got XY control, or should have XY control. I forgot to do something. Why did it not pick up my XY? Is it working? Was working. Yeah, it should be there. This usually just works. Get that out of the way. Why is it not seeing my preset for that? Huh. Well, that's interesting. So, well, anyway, if I went, you know, X and Y, ordinarily this would control my filter. I got something else is going. Oh, I know what's part of what's going on here. This patch is ridiculous. What on earth have I got going on here? I've screwed something up big time. Why is it playing this other thing? I don't know what's going on. Something weird tonight. It's been a night of weirdness. I don't know why it didn't grab that. Anyway, the point is, I hate it when that happens. Why did this not work? Why did it not work if it's working here? What did I do differently? Works here. No, I can redo. No, I don't want to do that. Oh, did I forget to do that? There we go. All right, I didn't have the plugin activated. Duh. So now I can do filter cutoff. Oh, I know why it's doing such weird stuff. There we go. So anyway, you can see that I've got filter control, more or less, and resonance. And this is really a bad patch for this. That's another part of the deal. There we go. Now it's, well, the gremlins in my brain is what it was, Luke. I've got brain gremlins going on. I guess I got water on the brain. They got wet. So anyway, geez, it's 20 after 9. I was going to play with the Hydrasynth some tonight, but I guess we'll do that another night. We'll do that next week. So let's see. Anyway, so I got down to this question, and I don't know if I have a decent answer for it or not. It's like, you know, since I didn't intend to buy the Polybrute in the first place, am I going to keep it? Anyway, I don't know. You know, there are things about the Polybrute that I love more than anything, and then there's parts of it that are a little maddening to me. You know, and it's like, I mean, it's better now that I have the XY control over here, such as it is. So you define your audio system. That's interesting. I'm more interested in wondering why we were having, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that tonight. So it can't import audio until you define your audio system. Is it meaning that it's expecting that all audio is going to come in, that you might be importing is going to be coming in from an audio input, or is it some other inane reason? You know, just, but again, it gets down to one of those maddening things that, you know, so, you know, I've had maddening things over here with the Polybrute. There's yeah, there's that. Well, you know, again, I'm sitting here with, you know, USB from the, I have one cable that connects the Mac to the world. Yeah, you have, Jeff. So I've got one cable that connects the Mac to a box on the desk, and everything else connects through that. Now it's Thunderbolt from the Mac to from the MacBook to the dock, or the, you know, the thing, and then out of that, I've got Thunderbolt to video. I've got, you know, USB going everywhere, you know, and I'm even doing more with USB than I had ever intended to do in this room. You know, now I've got the Polybrute software running. That has to have USB to work. Obviously, this keyboard is, you know, the main keyboard controller is USB. I've got both USB and MIDI in the Keystep. I can route it either way, and they don't get in fights. I'm not getting weird looping stuff going on. I mean, so there's USB all over this place that I never intended, and it works like a champ. So I don't. I'll just say this one last time. USB is not the problem. It's Microsoft's implementation of USB that is the problem. USB is just fine, you know, but, you know, Microsoft never really got, or until recently, never really got it figured out correctly. That's just what it is. Because as far as using Microsoft, if there were more software that worked, if there were more software that worked, Linux handles USB beautifully as well. Well, you know, for years, that was, for a lot of years, good audio, the only way you could do good audio was on the bus and not use USB. The way modern USB works, though, it's, you know, 6 of one, half dozen the other, really. Windows the 13th. Now, Windows 11 does it correctly. Does all that stuff correctly now. The problem is the legacy cruft that has to stay around for older gear. That's what a lot of the problem is, because Microsoft goobered up stuff from the beginning and everyone compensated. Now they're stuck with it. So, you know, and I'm not, and Tao, I'm back to the Mac. I've only been back to the Mac for a few months. I remember never having an issue with USB, with USB or FireWire prior to going back over to PCs for a while. And, you know, I come back to the Mac, I plug the stuff in, everything just works. So, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't know. but yeah, I mean, there was a time when really the only way you could get decent audio in and out of a PC was by having a card. You know, and I remember those days, and you know, it was, there were there were a whole bunch of different cards out there that worked well. The Paris was good. M Audio had some really good stuff. Oh, RME had some PC based, some PC bus based audio interfaces that were really good, but you know, I'm not going back. Not going back. So anyway, it is coming close to the end of the appointed time. I wanted to fool around a bunch. 100%. Well, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't say that much, but that's giving it a lot of credit now. Yeah, Motu had some great cards too. That's right. I forgot about those. So anyway, it's 9:28. It's about going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and it's been good chatting. And I broke everything in the set tonight, so I'm not sure what. I'll just roll some background music on out. And again, thanks. And next week we'll dig around in the Hydrasynth. There's a lot of fun. I will dial up my first patch real quick. Hey, what happened to the one I just did? Oh well. I must have saved it to the wrong place. Oops. Oh well. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Good to talk to you all. Yeah, we had some good stuff yesterday, Paul. That's for sure. It was a good jam. The one before was really good too. So we're having some good times with that. So anyway, Paul, Jeff, Luke, Danny, Tal, Jeff, and Jeff. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you all, and we will be back at this next week, if not before. I'm looking to make sure I didn't miss anybody. We'll be back at this next week, if not before. So, have no idea what's going to come out when I hit this key, but it won't be long. So, y'all have a good one. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Oops, not what I wanted. Of course. Let me get where I belong. There we go.